Beyond the Gates spoilers tease that a tragic ending looms for Dani as she prepares to leave the chaos of BTG behind. With quiet resolve, Dani had decided to disappear from the drama, convinced that peace could only be found by walking away. But peace was a privilege she was never meant to have. Haley, sensing Dani's impending departure, made a desperate final move. Not out of strategy but panic. In her core, she felt the weight of everything slipping away: control, sympathy, even Bill. She had built her life on a fragile illusion, and Dani's exit threatened to shatter it all. So, she did what she always did when cornered. She lied. In a moment that would define everything after it, Haley looked Bill in the eye, let tears stream down her cheeks, and said, "Dani pushed me." She was furious. That's what caused the miscarriage. Bill, already unmoored by weeks of confusion and grief, finally cracked. His judgment clouded, his reason collapsed under the pressure of emotion. In his unraveling mind, Haley's story filled in all the blanks. The anger he had buried, the guilt, the helplessness, it all exploded. He didn't think. He acted. He drove to Dani's apartment with a storm boiling behind his eyes. Every red light was ignored. Every doubt silenced by Haley's voice echoing in his mind. Dani opened the door, caught off guard by the look in his eyes. She barely had time to speak. "Bill? What?" The words were drowned out by rage. Accusations flew. She backed up, trying to calm him, her hands open, voice steady. "You're wrong, I never touched her. You have to listen to me." But he didn't. Or wouldn't. In a terrible moment, Dani tried to walk away, and he grabbed her arm. She pushed back. He shoved harder. She slipped. The back of her head collided with the marble counter. Everything went silent. The blood came fast. Bill stood frozen, watching the woman he just killed bleed out on her kitchen floor. Haley, who had followed him in secret, arrived minutes later. What she saw hollowed her. Dani's lifeless body. Bill collapsed on the floor, trembling, broken. "She didn't do anything, did she?" Bill asked. Haley blinked, her pulse deafening. Her whole plan had been manipulation, not murder. The sight of Dani dead shattered every delusion. And yet, when Bill begged for the truth, she nodded. She lied again. She did. But guilt struck instantly. It wasn't just shame. It was nausea, a suffocating realization that her need to control had killed someone. Dani, the only person who had seen through her, was gone. The police arrived. The story was told. Haley stuck to her version. Dani was violent, Bill reacted. A tragic accident. A man overwhelmed by grief. The legal system ruled it involuntary manslaughter. But Naomi didn't buy it. When Naomi identified Dani's body, the room turned cold. A part of her soul froze in that moment. She didn't cry right away. She just stared. At her friend. Her truth-teller. The one person who had stood by her through everything. She didn't visit Bill at first. The betrayal was too deep. But after the funeral, she went to the prison. Bill looked like a man who had aged 10 years. Hollow eyes. Sunken posture. He tried to speak, but Naomi stopped him. "I know what happened. Haley told me." She confessed. Dani never hurt her. She was never pregnant. Bill went pale. His mouth moved, but nothing came out. His body folded in on itself like a dying star. Naomi didn't reach through the glass. She didn't comfort him. "You believed a liar. And you killed someone who told the truth. Don't ask me to feel sorry for you." She stood, turned, and walked away. That was the last time she looked him in the eyes. The town tore itself apart. Some people blamed Bill entirely. Others pointed fingers at Haley, who, despite the lies, faced no charges. Her manipulation wasn't illegal. Just monstrous. A memorial was held for Dani in the garden where she used to read. Ashley spoke. Naomi didn't say much, but when she placed a single lily at the base of Dani's photograph, her hand trembled. Haley stayed far away. She knew better. Bill was sentenced. No appeal. No defense. He accepted it. Haley vanished from view. Some said she left the country. Others claimed she checked into a psychiatric ward. The truth didn't matter anymore. Her name became synonymous with destruction. Naomi wore Dani's memory like armor. She gave interviews, wrote columns, spoke about the cost of silence. She launched a foundation in Dani's name to help women caught in abusive or manipulative relationships. Every event was a reminder of what was lost, of what should have been protected. Because Dani didn't die in vain. She died because no one listened to her in time. And Naomi made a vow that would never happen again. Bill served his sentence in quiet remorse. He rarely spoke, never wrote letters. The only visitor he ever received again was Ashley, who came just once. She didn't come with forgiveness. She came with a photo of Dani. She laid it on the table and said, "Look at what you did. Live with it." After that, Bill stopped requesting visitors altogether. Outside the prison walls, Haley's absence became its own kind of presence. Naomi couldn't go anywhere without someone whispering her name, her silence, her shame. But Naomi didn't dwell on where Haley was hiding. She channeled her fury and grief into advocacy. She transformed her pain into movement. She organized town forums, spoke to young women, partnered with psychologists. Slowly, her mission expanded beyond grief. It became about accountability, about teaching people how easily lies turn lethal when left unchecked. One night, she received a message with no sender. It contained a recording. It was Haley's voice, fragile and flat. "I never meant for Dani to die. I just didn't want to be forgotten. I didn't want Bill to leave me. I wanted someone else to be the bad guy. I told myself it would pass, that it was just a way to keep control. But I destroyed her. I destroyed you. And I hate myself for it." Naomi listened in silence. Then she deleted the message. It wasn't enough. No apology could fix what was broken. The garden where Dani's memorial stood became a sanctuary. People began leaving letters there. Notes of regret, of sorrow, of apologies never spoken. Naomi read every one. Some made her cry. Some made her furious. All reminded her that Dani's story mattered. Ashley kept close. She never tried to fill Dani's place, but she never left Naomi alone. Their bond deepened not because of shared pain, but because they refused to let it swallow them. Together, they rebuilt something resembling peace. Haley, meanwhile, found herself in a quiet town across the ocean. She used a different name, worked at a bookshop where no one knew her face. She attended therapy 3 times a week. She journaled obsessively, sometimes filling entire pages with nothing but Dani's name. She thought often about returning, about turning herself in. But fear always won. Not fear of prison. Fear of seeing Naomi. Fear of being truly seen. One day, while walking along the coast, she saw a little girl drop her toy into the water and cry. Without thinking, Haley climbed over the rocks and retrieved it. When she returned the doll, the girl's mother smiled and thanked her. Haley broke down. That night, she wrote one final letter. Not to Naomi, not to Bill, but to Dani. "You were never the villain. I was. You stood your ground. I rewrote the ground itself to make people doubt you. And it worked. Until it didn't. I don't deserve peace. But I will never lie again. Not even to myself." She burned the letter after writing it. The smoke rose into the night sky, and for the first time in months, she slept without waking up screaming. Bill's sentence came to an end after 7 years. He declined parole early, insisting he needed to serve every day. When he was released, he moved into a remote cabin outside town. No phone. No visitors. Just old books and silence. Naomi never reached out. But every year, on the anniversary of Dani's death, she left a single white candle outside his gate. No note. No words. A reminder. A judgment. A grief he would never escape. The town healed slowly. Scars remained, but so did resolve. The garden expanded. A bench was placed beside Dani's memorial. On the back of the bench, engraved in quiet steel, were the words, "She told the truth." We chose not to listen. Naomi sat there often. Not to mourn. To remember. And to never forget what silence cost them all. The shadow of Dani's death never truly left the town. What had begun as a ripple of grief had become a silent current beneath everything. Naomi, now a voice far beyond the town's borders, continued her advocacy. Her speeches filled auditoriums, her interviews aired nationally. She never once softened her message. Dani's name was always there. Not a headline. A truth. One late autumn evening, Naomi returned to the garden alone. Leaves skittered across the stone path, and the wind carried the scent of smoke from distant chimneys. She sat on the bench beneath the steel engraving, her fingers tracing the cold letters. "You deserved more time," she whispered. Behind her, a soft crunch of footsteps. Naomi turned, cautious but calm. It was Ashley, holding a folded piece of paper. "You should see this," she said. The note was anonymous, but Naomi recognized the handwriting instantly. It was Haley's. A final confession, this one public. Sent to a local reporter with no return address. The paper trembled in Naomi's hands. "I lied. I caused Dani's death. I destroyed Bill. I ruined Naomi. I cannot undo any of it. But the truth matters, even when it's too late." The confession was published. Local papers ran it. The town buzzed, but there was no outrage anymore. Just quiet. Reflection. Bill, living out his days in the mountains, read it too. A neighbor brought the paper. He didn't react. He just folded the page neatly and placed it between the pages of a book Dani once gave him. A book he had never been able to open until now. Haley was never seen again. Some believed she had taken her own life after the confession. Others thought she finally turned herself in under a new identity. Naomi never tried to find out. She didn't need to. The damage was done. The accountability had come far too late. But something strange happened over the years. New people moved into town. They didn't know Dani, but they learned about her through the memorial. Through Naomi's speeches. Through a mural painted by teenagers on the side of the community center. Dani, smiling, wind in her hair, a line of text beneath her. She was right. We didn't listen. And every year, on the anniversary of her death, strangers would gather. Not to mourn, but to acknowledge. They lit candles. Read poems. Shared stories of people they had lost to silence and lies. Naomi stood among them year after year. One spring, she was approached by a young girl with trembling hands. "I almost didn't speak up about something that happened to me," the girl said. "But then I read about Dani. And I did. Dani hadn't just died. She had become a warning. And in that, Naomi found a kind of peace. Not forgiveness. Not closure. In a world that had let Dani down, Naomi had made sure her truth would echo louder than the lie that killed her.